Things have slowed down a lot in this game the past week, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. But with jealousy and cheatmances and enemies still being made, there's still a little something to talk about. Our nominations for the week have officially been set, and the scramble to figure out the votes is currently underway. So there is some stuff to get into today, but first, of course, before I dive into all that, it would mean the world if you would hit that subscribe button below. About half of y'all watch my videos all the time, but you still haven't subscribed yet. And even though the season is almost over, there's still a couple of weeks left, even though they may be a little meh. Plus, the new Big Brother and Amazing Race crossover will be premiering soon, so that is just going to be so refreshing and fun, especially after this season. So once again, please make sure that you're subscribed, and let's get started. So when we last left off, Morgan had just taken herself off the block and Keanu was put up in her place. Keanu was really the only good choice left for Lauren to put up there, even though he really didn't do anything in the game to go against Lauren at all whatsoever. But since this endgame is clearly going to be more about competition wins and actual social strategy, getting out a comp beast like Keanu really isn't a bad play. Keanu clearly doesn't see it that way though, so he is big mad at Lauren right now. Like, Lauren is now officially his mortal enemy in the game, and he is just swearing up and down that he's going to take her out next. Keanu's social awareness has just never really been great, so he doesn't realize that Lauren's never really messed with him like that, even though they've been playing on the same side for the better half of the game. So from Keanu's perspective, he feels like Lauren just isn't thinking through her nominations all the way, when in reality, he has been one of her targets like this whole entire time.
This season, people are just idiots, bro. Like, they don't think. Are you fucking kidding me?
You have to.
You didn't think that far ahead?
You have to.
So you're using me as a sacrificial lamb, even though I just saved you, and you're gonna fucking throw me? Okay, all right. Okay.
I know.
You know?
It's also not really helping that Lauren is just continuing to play scared and refusing to even admit that she's coming after Keanu in the first place. I think that she probably thinks that acting like this will just make people less mad at her. But like Keanu said, and he actually really ate when he said this, but Big Brother is not a game that favors the meek, it favors the bold. So playing scared and not standing on business like Lauren and Vince have been doing all season is really probably going to do nothing but lose them respect at the end. I've just always really wanted her to just be more bold and stand up and just play with more courage in general. But clearly, as time goes by, it's clear that that's just not who Lauren is. So overall, Keanu does still seem to be in the most trouble heading into this eviction. He has been trying to campaign for himself, though. One of his points is that he, again, is swearing to take Lauren out the game. But he is also pitching that if Will were to leave this week, then that would also just weaken Lauren's game and her overall win equitability. Which I do actually agree is a pretty good pitch, because taking out people like Adrian and Will just would not be a big flex for Lauren in the end.
And like I said, if we force this shot to be taken and she takes Will out,
yep,
she's almost a guarantee to get second place too.
Yep.
But unfortunately, I think she's more of a comp threat than Morgan. So I would prefer Lauren to leave.
I agree.
But if we miss Lauren and hit Morgan, that's fantastic.
Yep.
Morgan is also pushing really hard for Will to leave this week for similar reasons. She also wants to weaken Lauren's chances of winning by taking out Will, but that's only if he's up against Ashley. Morgan would still rather have Keanu leave overall just because he is directly targeting her now. But if it does end up being Will versus Ashley, she would rather have Will out, and she's gonna start making this pitch to Vince as well, because Vince is technically the swing vote this week. It started off small, but now there is definitely some big momentum to get Will out the game this week, and all of that is just really, really bad news for him, because it's not looking good for him with this blockbuster. As a reminder, Will injured himself pretty bad during that last veto comp. So if this blockbuster is even like remotely physical at all, then Will is going to have damn near zero chance of winning this thing. He hasn't really been campaigning too much so far either, which obviously isn't good. He really needs to be talking to people like Vince and even Lauren, but I just don't know if Will is savvy enough to like really be able to figure out what he needs to do. And that's just really terrible for him, because Vince is starting starting to lean towards keeping Ashley just a little bit because Morgan has been pushing so much. On top of all this, Lauren is more or less acting pretty indifferent with this vote. So if neither of his closest allies are pro-Will, then it's looking less likely that Vince would be too. Ashley has also been doing her due diligence and campaigning for herself, with her main pitch being that she's just a better ally to keep in general since Will is injured. She would just be a more useful ally since she can actually win comps. Plus, since Will has a better overall social game, that is just something that's going to help him out more if he makes it to the end.
It is true.
Yeah.
For Will, it is true. Like, unfortunately, because he'll always have Ava.
That's a guaranteed vote. And, you know.
And Kelley. Kelley would vote to save him.
Yeah, that's true.
Morgan. And everyone but Lauren.
Yes.
So overall, right now, Keanu does still seem to be in the most danger if he doesn't win that blockbuster. But if the vote comes down to Ashley versus Will, then things are looking pretty close. It does seem like Will is just ever so slightly more likely to leave right now. But again, he hasn't really started campaigning yet, and there is still an entire day for things to change, so we're just gonna have to see. So that is pretty much our main storyline going on in the game right now, but there are still a few other things that I'll touch on as well. There is all of this weird, unnecessary tension going on in the game right now, with this weird triangle of Morgan, Lauren, and Vince. Morgan just cannot get over the fact that Vince is working with Lauren still. She was already upset when Vince chose Lauren over her in that last HOH competition, and now things have just gotten even worse because Vince has just been spending all his time with Lauren this week because duh, Lauren has all the power, combined with the fact that Lauren was clearly targeting Morgan earlier in the week. I mean, obviously that's just making everything worse, but overall, I gotta say, it is just giving jealousy a little bit.
The hardest part for me is, so obviously Vince is my number one. I'd say the person I'm closest to next is you.
Yeah, I agree.
You know? And so what's hard for me is like, his number two is Lauren, the person who literally voted me out and put me up on the block and wanted me out.
Morgan has just been complaining for days now about Vince and Lauren, and she's mad that Vince just clearly likes Lauren so much better than her on a personal level. And that is just getting on everybody else's nerves because they think it's weird that she's just so obsessed with Vince. Especially since he's already such a weasel of a player, and then you combine that with, you know, the whole girlfriend thing.
Don't mind to me and you who are on the block. We could go home.
Yes.
You are safe. You are safe. And you worrying about your man up there talking to him with HOH?
I have to worry about a blockbuster. You're talking about
You are...
2 evictions.
It's really just all a hot mess between these three. I think Vince's ideal scenario is just playing both of them until somebody else in the game inevitably takes one of them out, because Vince has still been in there just very much lying to both of them. He's over there telling Lauren that he'll be willing to take a shot at Morgan one day, and then he's over there telling Morgan that he's willing to go after Lauren.
I'm telling you, I am going to gun for that HOH so hard because I want her on my block so bad. And I want him to then be like, okay, make the choice. Because now if you go and comfort her because she's on my block, you didn't do that shit to me when I was on her block.
And then if all that wasn't already messy enough to make things even more awkward, Vince and Morgan have still been in that house doing all of that hugging and cuddling and rubbing each other stuff. They've even been trying to rationalize it in the house by saying that there's really nothing scandalous going on since they're not literally making out or anything. But I don't know, to me, just the minute-long hugs and all the cuddles and the grabbing each other and the constant saying I love you just speaks for itself.
Okay, well, now you're just yelling at me.
No, I'm not yelling.
No, you're screaming at you just literally just said you hate me.
Don't gas me.
I'm sorry. I didn't even realize that's what I was doing. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. I love you. No sad Morgan. My
ribcage always hits right where your microphone just jabbed in your sternum.
In other news, Lauren, Ava, and Kelley have all teamed up and officially made a final 3 together. Really, Lauren is the glue that is holding this whole thing together because her and Kelley have already been close since the beginning. And Lauren and Ava were always really close too. They've had that whole Bond Girls Alliance thing since like week 2 or 3. So it just seemed kind of natural for them to all link up eventually. It's just something to note because now they're promising that they're going to have each other's backs moving forward with the votes and stuff. Plus, they all share the same hatred for Rachel that is currently binding them together. So that's something, I guess. So that's all I have for today. Of course, I want to know, how do you feel about the house dynamics leading into this vote? And who do you want to see be evicted next? Let me know in the comments below. I am pretty much just ready for a brand new week to start at this point. I'm really hoping that they don't do another White Locust elimination thing, but knowing this show, I'm already prepping myself for the disappointment, you know? If you are someone who has given up on the show this season and are choosing not to watch it anymore, but are still watching my recaps, I want you to know, thank you so much. I see you, I appreciate you, and I completely understand. I'm still planning on being here to recap the feeds with y'all until the end of the season, just so you don't have to. So I'll be back here, likely on Friday, to update you all with who the new HOH is and any other twists they decide to throw our way. But until then, bye.